is the Dawg Pound. I am so excited because it's just me and the girls this week.
All
Uh-oh.
your favorite people.
No Max. I mean, we unfortunately we lost April this week, but she'll be back next week. Max could be going for a couple weeks, but I've got two of the most brilliant women in the car business. And did you see your new title, Jennifer?
No. What's my new title? I didn't even see it.
Oh,
I've been busy.
the Empress of Executive Management.
The
You're an
Empress. I like
Empress,
that.
though? I like that too. Do you have
Yes.
crowns?
No.
You're still the Queen of BDC, Bobbie.
All
I
right.
roll with it too. I'm actually working on BDC stuff this week. Operations in BDC.
Well, that's surprisingly enough, that is the subject of this week's Dawg Pound.
I love that topic. I'm in.
The topic is, what do we do? This is going to be one hour infomercial for us.
I like it. Solid. It's a solid
Okay.
plan. We haven't done that in a long time.
No.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of people see us on the screen, and they see us a digital dealer, and they see us, blogging here and there in social media, but they don't really know what we do.
That's valid.
You know what I've got varied trades that I keep switching hats, and it always says Alpha Dawg, whichever one I'm wearing. But I'm switching hats, and Bobbie, we call you the Queen of BDC. Now your company is Bee's Knees Agency, right?
Yes. We
And-
sting like a bee.
And you are Next Level Briggs.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
let's start off.
I don't know. I'm liking this Empress of Executive Management. I'm going to
I know.
check
I
and
really
see if
like
can get the
that. I feel like you
domain
should get a
right now.
name tag. Like, you should
Yeah.
get it on your wall.
Well, the Empress comes from all these Dungeons and Dragons games and Game of Thrones and all this. The Empress. It's got
Listen,
regal standing.
I
It's got
like it.
I like it too.
Yeah, like my wife's name is Deborah.
Best
Deborah. She's not a Debra. She's a Deborah, right?
Yes.
Do you know who Deborah is? Deborah is the meanest woman in the Bible.
Is that a real thing?
Deborah.
Did you just make that up?
No. Deborah was the warrior queen that cut off guys' heads and stuff. I mean, she was a badass in the Bible.
Did you know that all of my moms and bonus moms are named Deborah? My mom, my stepmom, and your Deb, all are Deborahs.
Deborah.
It makes a lot of sense now why I'm so
Deborah, not Deborah or any of these funky new age spellings, but
Right.
Deborah. Okay,
Right.
yeah,
Makes a
Deborah,
lot of sense now.
the meanest woman in the Bible. I sleep with one eye open, I'll tell you.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, the
amazing.
Empress of Executive Management. And the
I like
reason I say that about Jennifer Briggs is I've known Jennifer for about 7 or 8 years now.
It's been a long time.
And in the 7 or 8 years I've known both of these women, I met them both on the same day.
Yeah.
Very true.
We were together. We were competing
Yeah.
against each other at that time.
It was amazing. And I saw that you were in an executive position in a car dealership. You were running the show. And I'm thinking, my gosh. And I got to find out more about you. And we became very close friends. These are two of my closest friends in the world. I want the audience to know that. You talk about got your back.
That's
Oh,
right, man.
Yeah, we all got each other.
This crew here, we kill for each other.
That's a
That is
fact.
very true.
Lie
I can
on-
neither
lie
confirm nor deny any of that.
lie on the stand.
We'll deny the premeditation there.
But anyway, Jennifer Briggs, researching a little bit, she's held every executive position in the car business. How did you get started, Jennifer?
I actually got started as a collection agent and accounts payable clerk. So
Really?
I had been a buyer for a military grocery distributor. I was a military wife, and we relocated to Michigan, where he was from, and there was no military resale or installation. So I I submitted my resume to a want ad for a $9 an hour collection agent position.
Big money.
Worked my way up through accounting, and became the administrative director for the group as we have been acquiring multiple locations. And one day I became a marketing director and then an internet sales director.
Did you have any expertise or experience as a marketing director?
No. I have an accounting degree and a finance degree. But when you earn your finance degree, they make you take a lot of statistics courses. And you're writing performance and you're using data. And I really leveraged that part of my background to help to accelerate my results in utilizing trends and data to be able to know exactly where to target and how to squeeze the most juice out of an investment. So it was a strange starting that really led well into what I've spent most of my career doing now. Now I have to say, so I started in 2002, September 2002. I think it was September 9th or something like that was my first day. And so now I'm just
You're so cute. You remember your exact first day?
I remember the outfit I wore on my exact first day.
Oh, no.
I do.
I'm
I
traumatized
do.
from my first year in automotive. I don't think I remember the exact day.
That's a little too much.
but it was a big day for me. And so I remembered it. And but I spent 8 years on the accounting and administrative side of things and learning the dealership from the financial statement forward, creating departments, building, like we talked about last week, our own sublet service center so that I didn't have to send those cars other places. And and you're going to make fun of me because I remember this too. March 15th, the marketing director quit, Jeff Simonton. You remember him, Bobbie?
I do, yeah.
And then
that's the day that Brutus, that's the day Brutus stabbed
the Ides
Julius
of March.
Caesar.
It was a fateful day indeed. It's the day I became a marketing director and married those two talents. It's a different start, I think, than most people we meet in operations.
That's what most of us have in common.
Yeah.
Most of us, super achievers, all three of us, we create things that nobody taught us. We are so, people talk about outside the box, and I have gone so far outside the box, I can't, How'd you get started, Bobbie?
You built a giant box castle. It's a big one. So you just asked me something, but you broke up a little bit. What was your question?
I asked you, how'd you get started?
Oh, man. Okay. So
the car business.
Yeah. So I walked into a dealership and I applied for, it was a Ford dealership. And it was before BDCs. It was when Ford had first decided that they were going to set up BDCs. And so nobody had any idea what they were doing with them. And so my entire role, I walked in, I took a $10 an hour job. I was 18 years old, had a little baby, and was just starting out in life, and walked in. And I was the person who, from service, remember the old paper rolls in service, how they would print out every night with all the customer data on them? Because we didn't have CRMs then, right? Age myself here. I had to call through all of those people to try to get them to come in and trade their cars in. And I didn't have a trainer and I didn't have anything. And at that point, I just knew I love people, right? And I like to talk people into doing things they might not want to do. So that was how I started in the business. It is a fact. That's how I got my start. And I think that's why it's kind of dear to my heart. But I've held every position in the dealership. Every single one of them. I worked for Sonic Automotive for quite some time as a finance director. And one of the rules that they had, because I was one of the youngest managers in the company, I got sent to an etiquette class and I had to work every department for 2 weeks to learn about each department, right? Shocker. And I was a general manager of a store before I went through my divorce with my children's father. And the judge in my divorce had just lost custody of his children to his wife. And he said to me, "You will find a new job or you will not have your children." Because my husband was a stay-at-home dad. He did. So I replaced the person. I found the replacement who was going to replace me as the GM. And 2 weeks later, I took a job and started all over again from a GM to a call center BDC person so that I could have the flexibility in the hours so that I would get shared custody of my children. So it's been everything from I've been a BDC manager, a finance manager, a general manager. I've been a dealer operator. I've been for a massive group, handled operations. And so all are things that I love, but I fell into this business accidentally like everybody else does. And now I just can't let it go.
I was a radio executive.
Mm-hmm.
I was
crazy.
a DJ. I was a DJ. I was a
You were
salesman.
a celebrity. Stop being modest.
Yes.
Oh,
We've heard the stories.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. I was a very famous DJ, but and the funny thing was, I was a record-setting salesperson in the radio advertising business. I mean, I sold $250,000 in radio advertising 2 years in a row, which doesn't sound like a lot because people sell millions today, but that was at $8 a spot.
Wow.
$8 a spot.
I tried to do that job. I applied in my third year of selling for the dealers. See, the dealership that I started at, they wouldn't let me sell cars. They said no. So I ended up going somewhere else and selling cars, and I applied for a position to sell radio spots in a small town. And the guy told me that as a woman, I was never going to work. And I still hope that in that small town I grew up in, he sees me and is like,
well, you're a girl.
Big mistake. like big mistake, right? Like straight up. But it's the sales portion of it, the equivalent, it works in almost any business. But isn't it funny how many different things like wrestling and radio and all these different things that we've done during this time that end up helping?
Were you a wrestler?
No, but you did wrestling stuff.
Yeah, well, we're not putting all that out there right now. But
It's a different show.
Well,
We've talked about it before on here.
Well, the radio business sort of ran my wife off. At least I felt that's why we split up. But once I got divorced, I got on a motorcycle and went to California for a year. And when I got back from California, I had been, I hung out with the hippies. I grew my hair and beard and went all the way to California on a motorcycle and hung out with people like Swami Muktananda. I was, and when I got back, I walked into a car dealership and said, I'd like to be a car salesman. And that was 1976. And I had sold a couple cars for my friend Steve Lucas, who owned the Steve Lucas Honda and Acura dealerships in Florida. And I had sold a couple cars for him while I was still selling radio advertising. And I knew I could do it, but I was just going to do it till I could get a good job.
Yeah. That's
just do it until you could get a good job. How many fantastic car people have said that?
So many. When I made $4,500 my third month in the business in 1976, that would be like $40,000 today. It would be unbelievable. I made $4,500.
My first month selling cars, I got my commission check and I had the bank cash it all in once because I wanted to see how much money it looked like on the bet. I was like 19. It was a good time.
$4,500 in 1976. I never made that much as a radio executive, and I was at the top of the game.
I just still hope that guy sees it and is just like, big mistake. Like, I really wanted that job.
Well, but then you probably wouldn't be exactly where you are today. So I think every opportunity, whether it is someone opening a door or something closing, like I was leaving the car business, right? Because I knew the McDonald family and I had worked for them a long time. And so
wait a minute, the who?
The McDonald Auto Group in Saginaw, Michigan. They're in mid-Michigan. There's a lot.
You might not have heard of
it. Was that John McDonald? Is that John McDonald?
No, Big Tom would have been senior, and then Bill McDonald, and then
was he a former vice president of General Motors?
No, I don't. No,
not the same one.
No, not the same one.
I worked for that guy's son. Who was the
There was another brother, but I can't remember his name right now. But I am almost certain he was also not.
Yeah, no, I
No.
know it wasn't, because in all my research to try to get Jennifer kicked out of my market when we were competitors, that didn't come up.
Well, John McDonald was the son of a vice president of General Motors, and he opened up
Okay.
McDonald Pontiac in Atlanta, and I
Oh.
interviewed with him, and I mean, I thought I did a really great interview, but you know who he hired?
Who?
The girl with the big boobs.
Maybe she was storing some brain power. That's
I
why.
went on, and he's a 20 group moderator for NCM right now, and I always kid him about that. I went on set world records. He hired the girl with the big boobs.
It's funny though, because when I look back at those opportunities, I always think too, like, was I ready at the time? I think the biggest disservice I did to myself in my career was jumping too soon when I wasn't ready for something. And sure, it worked out, but it certainly could have been an easier life lesson if I would have had everything.
Really,
My child has been calling.
Some guy's hitting on you on the side here. Des Lorraine.
No, that's my daughter.
That's
Is that who it
Destiny.
My
is?
daughter is trying to get hold of me.
Oh,
I'm not answering my phone, so she's
hi,
taking
I love
me
you.
to the show.
Okay. I thought there was some guy hitting on you. I'm going.
No. That's
The
the
hot
baby
mama.
she mentioned earlier.
That's the
Yeah.
baby grown up. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the baby grown up who's running around the country right now. Hi, Des, we
Oh,
love you.
golly.
It's
That is
interesting
so
though, because
funny.
I think in our careers, especially in automotive, and I do a lot of operations and leadership training, a lot of it, and not just training, but implementation, accountability, really learning these things. And one common thing that I find myself saying nonstop to people is, it's okay to jump. Don't be afraid to fly, but it's not all about a title in an office. You're not doing somebody on your team a favor by promoting them to something that they're not ready for and don't have the tools or the skills for yet, because you cause them to fail that way. And we in this industry, we have such this idealistic approach of like, so-and-so sells a lot of cars, they should be a sales manager. That BDC person, they understand social, they should be a marketing manager. And it's like, yeah, that can work out. It certainly can. But more often than not, we set people back by doing that. And I feel like it's a constant conversation that I have to have.
So you are in a dealership right now, correct, Bobbie?
I am, yeah. Yep, I'm on site
And-
this week.
And Jennifer, you're in your office today, and
I am in my
your
office
staff
today.
your staff is all there today.
Yeah, the team is here today. I'm finally back in the office because I spent almost a month on site for a triage situation with one of the
I
stores.
know that, and
Oh,
tell
so I'm
tell
so
that
glad to be back.
tell
Yeah.
that dealer tell that dealer who we both know. We both know that dealer. Tell him to call me. I won't charge him for the call. Just tell him.
Oh, for sure. And I know I'm putting together some work for the new Infinity store. So when I get out there, I'll make sure to swing up and say hello.
Oh, you're going to be close. You're going to be real.
Oh,
You're going to be
so
about
close.
60 miles from me. That is close for us. So yeah. How much do we charge? I mean, is that a subject we want to talk about?
I'm comfortable with that subject because I don't flex on my rates. So
Right.
I tell people I customize every package for every dealer. So the amount of time that I would be with you or that you would need is going to be different. But I don't budge from my rate card. It is what it is. If a dealer, but I also don't lose clients over money. So if somebody says to me, hey, that's out of my budget, I say, tell me what your budget is. I'll tell you what fits in it. If it was my store, what I would be working on, right? Whether you're building a BDC or a sales team or you're in the middle of a buy sell, it changes. But I charge $5,000 a day plus travel. That's my minimum.
That's
So
for on-site. That's the same rate that I have. And I think it's the right time of year to talk about this. I was just talking about that with my team as we're, looking at, pushing to the end of the year where dealers are trying to make an investment. Maybe you want to take that expense in 2022, but schedule the consulting or the training into 2023 for whatever purposes that might be. It is the time to talk about some of these things.
it really is.
Well,
I tell people,
I don't travel.
So
I don't travel like I once was.
yeah.
I was in 3 cities a week for so many years, and and through the years, I was charging $10,000 a day plus first class travel.
So
I
when
started
when
that
we
thing.
grow all the way up, Jim, we're gonna.
I don't fly in the back
You
of
grow all
no
the way up.
planes. I don't know what even goes on in the back of a plane. I looked in the back of a
I'm
plane
still good
one
with
time.
coach.
I looked through the curtains out of first class, and there were people, like 9 people across. Looked like a prison car. They were all like groveling for peanuts and shit. I said, no, I ain't gonna do
Well,
that.
now it's not even peanuts. It's
Now you just
federal.
get status. Now I get upgraded to first class all the time, but I don't pay for it. But you know, it's funny because you think about, like, people will hear us say that charge and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. But it's not, because I can't tell you how many people I've talked to build something with who then decided it was outside of budget, did something else, and then came back, and we could have already been where we were going. But I mean, the truth is, when you're a consultant, and you're training, you sell your time, and your time has to have a value attached to it. Like, I have 1 week left in this year that is available, and only because of a change in schedule for me. And next year we have the availability to only take on
You're booked out. I can't even get in
Yeah.
touch with you.
We only have the availability to take on 2 clients next year. So, like, if you live in a place that I like to visit, you're in. Like, that's how that works.
I just opened up time for one of my dear friends, my very first consulting client. And I'm like, look, I said I wasn't booking any travel in December for on sites. But I think the thing of it is when you hear that rate, because I don't sell just an on site.
Right.
I'm selling an action plan. So it's
Right.
going to come with, we might be doing some CRM customizations. We may be going through and doing some virtual training ahead of time to prep for the on-site, building vehicle acquisition strategies.
Now, what do you do on site,
CRM.
Jennifer? Jennifer, what do you do on site? Okay, Jennifer gets off the plane. What do you do?
Well, so we execute the agenda that I've already put together with the leadership team prior to even getting on the plane. So it's different for each location. If we're working on, management training, we'll have everything blocked. We'll make sure there's coverage on the floor. Like Bobbie said, one of the things that is, I think, different about us being in more of a management and operations consulting role, having run every department, we know where the flow is to make sure that the profitability is protected, because an investment you're making in processes and training has to be driven by the bottom line.
100%.
So for example, the last trip that I went out to the store, because I had spent 2 weeks with sales, I spent a week with service, looking over how can we automate our CSI? How can we maximize on some recall work? Do I need to rent a tent? Like, what do we need to do in order to make sure every department is flowing together? But that's going to be different. Some stores will say, hey, I want you to come do an internet sales boot camp. And so I'll be there for 3 days, start to finish, cramming down all sorts of awesome and amazing training. And then we recap with the managers on the way out. But it really is based off of what the location needs.
Yeah, what the plan is. I feel like one of the benefits to this and being in all the departments too, in addition to the profitability, is when we try to put something in place, it's not as simple as, hey, we're going to make this change. There's 50 different feelers and roadblocks and detours that are going to come from that you have to know are going to be up and coming, so you can solve them before you leave. Otherwise, you come in and you train on something, you change a process, you create variability, and then when you leave, it falls apart because something's broken. So, like, I require that clients be on a biweekly call with me. And that means all of the decision makers in the floor, the owner, if they're present, or the dealer operator, the general manager, and we're going to go through roadblocks and solve them together. So it's not a just come on site and then leave kind of thing, but it is based on what is it that the store is even bringing you in for, right?
Well, it's kind of funny because I really would rather not go in a dealership right now. I've got other services I offer, but if I do come to your dealership, there's rules. And
Absolutely.
I'm absolutely, I have fired more dealers than ever fired me.
Same.
Because the truth is, I want $15,000 a day, first class airfare, $100 a day per diem, plus first class accommodations, Hilton class or better. And I want transportation while I'm in town, either one of your demos or you provide me a chauffeur to take me around town. And I do want the dealer principal, the general manager, or somebody a decision maker to pick me up at the airport and take me to the dealership. I don't want to have to try to find my way around your town. So I want, somebody to pick me up at the airport so we can sort of just discuss strategy and
it's a good time to maximize every minute you
I
have.
like to go on adventures, so I don't let anybody pick me up. I'm going to go on an adventure, but I need a car, right?
But I would rather do a Zoom consultancy right now, and I've decided, and I haven't done one yet. So this is something I'm looking at $750 an hour. I require a minimum of 3 hours, and that's me.
I love doing
on
them by
Zoom.
Zoom. I like the energy in person in the dealership, but we have been doing Zooms all through COVID for clients virtually for darn near everything.
Well, even before COVID, if you think about it, part of the package, I know Bobbie and I have worked together for a long time. It has always been a virtual performance management.
Yep.
So like you're saying, Jim, with your billable per hour or per session for that virtual training, I bundle those as virtual performance packages. If you want a bi-weekly, so twice a month touch, it's $1,500. If you want a weekly touch, it's $2,500. We have just once a week touch points. Are you staying? It's like I'm your accountability buddy, right? On top of the other services that come in that action plan, because it's not necessarily a one and done, but I struggle a lot with the consultants who are like, oh, you're going to just do, this is it. This is the only way, just this way. There really is an ebb and flow. Just like if I was a manager sitting in your store, we had a management virtual performance management session this morning, and a fantastic old school desk guy. And I'm really enjoying working with him, but he thinks he's by himself. He has a virtual, an in-house BDC, right? It's the dealership's BDC, but they don't sit in the building. And he has me. And so it's a matter of getting him to understand this is the same as if we were to just, hey, I was to knock on the door and walk in your office and we're going to have a quick conversation about something. The way the world works is a little bit different, and there's so much value. And it's great because dealers who maybe couldn't afford the $15,000 a day to have Jim Ziegler in the store
have an option. Well, that's why it's like, and look, there's some selfishness to it as well, is that if I'm just coming into your store one time and I just leave, I mean, sure, you can write me a check and I can come in.
I want 3 days. I want 3 days at that rate.
Oh yeah, I don't do.
Well, right. But like, I think like, I watch people come in and it's like, I don't want my name attached to something that I'm not committed to assisting in a win. I operate on high performance culture. That means we're going to establish together what the KPIs are, what the processes are going to be, what we're training on, and we are all on the same page. My contract includes that you can't hire or fire an executive level manager without us having a discussion while we're in a contract. We're going to onboard people the correct way, no matter what that takes, and we're going to do it together. And so selfishly, we do have a call every other week for accountability. That keeps us bonded. It also means that we're working on things and I know what's going on in the store so that I can actually give you that assistance as we go. And I do not do long-term contracts, but I don't have any clients who aren't long-term, really. I mean,
well, Bobbie, I always tell a dealer, I must have executive general manager authority when I am in the dealership. And I can actually overrule the general manager in most cases. I've never done that. I've been in 1,000 dealerships. I look at when I was working with the Ed Bozarth dealerships in Aurora, Colorado, I had the authority to request a check and to fire an employee.
You
I
have
was
to be on
operating
their team.
at that level.
You're operating on their team. That's the thing. I was just joking with everybody earlier about at Christmas every year. I usually go to all my dealers' Christmas parties. And everybody's like, well, are you like, you go to theirs? No, these are my teams too. I'm as committed to that win as they are. When they lose, I lose. And when they win, I win. And so it matters. So when I'm on site or when I'm working with them, you have to have that kind of authority to be able to do stuff, because you have to be able to take out the bias and be able to look at something from a different perspective. Like, clients don't pay me to make them feel good. They pay me to make them money. And that means I have to be able to be direct and honest with them. And I have to be able to look at it from a different approach. We are a team.
Well, like I say, I'm here because your dealership wants to change.
Right.
Your executive dealer wants a change. If your dealer doesn't want to change, and if I've got to debate with the existing management,
Oh.
Excuse me, I'm not here because they felt you were doing a good job.
See, and I come
You
into a
know,
lot of places that are doing great, but have to want a performance enhancement. And most of the
exactly.
time, it's the two departments that don't know how to communicate with each other. And I'm working with both of them to bring them together, right? Or through a buy sell or a leadership. I do a lot of. I have retainer clients that are for leadership and operations, and I tell them in the beginning, I'm your therapist and your lawyer. Don't lie to me, and it's a secret, and we're going to work this out together. Because when they
I
win,
can't help you if I don't know the facts.
yeah, when they
Well,
win,
let me ask you two a
trust them
question.
in.
Let me ask you two a question. Now, I'm charging $750 an hour for Zoom sessions. Am I too cheap?
I don't,
Based on
I
the daily
don't book
rate,
by the hour.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I
There's
book
an
by
Well,
the
option one
I
that is,
do want to. I will be generous. It'll go a lot more than an hour, I'm sure. But
yeah.
Yes, you're charging too low, I would say, because your daily rate, if we were to break it down that way, even though we don't sell it that way, is triple what mine is. I charge $500 an hour for an hourly project. So like if I'm working with a client and I say, here's something that needs to be done, we can do it for you, or you can do it, then that bill breaks down to 500. So I think that it's probably light for you because you're working on executive operations on a different
maybe
spectrum with
1,500.
clients. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and I like to sell things by the scope of work. I like to think of the client as making an investment in a scope of work with an intended outcome. And I want to be able to leave them with everything. So I'll say, hey, this is the project. This is the time commitment. Here's the scope of work. This is the overall price. And if they come back to me and they say, it's out of our budget, I go, all right, well, if it was my dealership, here's what you need to do. So let's reel it in right there.
You know, I did 98 state dealer conventions as the opening keynote speaker.
Yeah.
And I charged every one of those people $7,500. That was in the day. Now, you know, today I'm looking at doing it via Zoom. And I just did my first Zoom keynote speech. You know, I am a professional speaker. I just did my first Zoom keynote for one of the big service contract companies, and I charged them $5,000, which I felt was good for a 1 hour speech. You know, that was 1 hour speech, totally on Zoom. They had 300 or 400 people in the audience, and I felt that was so. I'm doing that, and I'm doing sales meetings. How much?
I
How
love
much
to do
is
sales meetings.
how much is a good charge for a sales meeting? What
I
would you
incorporate
charge?
mine into my scope of work, so I'm not sure what it would even be on the black market right now.
The
Like,
black market. What?
Yeah, no, the underground, the secret underground.
Right. Yeah.
Who's on
So with I think the one thing that, especially with doing things virtually, and I don't do independent sales meetings. If I do conduct a sales meeting on site or virtually, it's for a client that's contracted on a larger action plan.
Right.
But I do know there are a lot of folks out there that do virtual sales meeting bookings. I don't know what they are. But I think, especially Jim, as you're taking what you do on site to a virtual capacity for dealers across the country, is to consider how much time you spend before that 1 hour. Now, the sales meeting, right? You're just gonna have to research some of their numbers, look to see where they've been struggling, put together what you want your topic to be. It could be limited prep time. But when we get into some large analytical, one of the other services I offer is advertising ROI. So in that, for instance, there's a lot of work ahead of time.
Oh, no, wait a minute. That's a lot of analytics. I mean,
It's a lot of analyzing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of analytics. It's a lot of call tracking data. It's a lot of CRM data, DMS data. It's basically going through all of that data, making sure the costs are accurate, accounting data, grosses, everything flowing through, and then configuring it into the software you're already using, whether that be a CRM or it be Accesso or something like that. So that way you can make educated decisions, because it is important to have that information, but not every dealer knows how to do it. So that's more of it's like a week or two's worth of work, depending upon how fast your accounting office gets access to everything. And then we have an hour and a half call to review it. But that is a service they purchase. So the call might be shorter, but you're still doing a ton of work. And especially if you're doing manager training, right? Think about the data, because that's how you make the most use of that 1 hour that the dealer gets, or 30
I never
minutes.
was good at analytics.
I love
know,
analytics.
I know.
I'm
Business
such a data
intelligence.
nerd. I'm
Business
such a data
intelligence.
nerd about stuff. The combination of sales and ability to analyze data, it's mind-blowing. The NLP that comes from that is crazy to me, and I love it. The advertising ROIs are one of my favorite things. My favorite thing for not on site is CRM customization and cleansing. And it's because it has a massive impact for the dealer almost immediately. And it cleans up the data so that you can have a true KPI for who is performing, how, why, when, and what they need. And that to me is huge. And when I first started offering CRM cleanses, it wasn't an option that anybody had. Nobody. Now all kinds of people are out there like, we do CRM customization. I'm like, please stop touching people's shit. I have to fix it when you leave. Like, come on. But those are the kind of offsite stuff that we get focused on. And it takes so much time before to analyze it and to really go through everything and to do it in a way that it's like, hey, if this was my dealership, this is what I would want done.
Well, you know, Bobbie, at $5,000 a day plus travel, I think you are probably underpriced. Because when you start to be 100%
people say yes too
booked,
easy.
when you start to become 100% booked, it's time to raise your rates.
Yeah, I have been 100% booked since 6 months into opening the company. And now I have more time because now all of my adult children have moved out of the house. There's no custody arrangements anymore. I'm a single, live at home myself, person. So I can travel a little bit more now. But I don't get a no. That seems to be the threshold for what's comfortable. And it's hard because people will say, oh, it's by day. Oh, it's this. Oh, that's so much. But what I have been able to do is build a huge network across the country in this mid-level dealership size or with somebody who wasn't comfortable with the extra budget that created a continuous relationship that we're locked in. The dealership I'm at today has been a client for 4 years with me. We've done sales, we've done CRM, we've done operation. I've been through 2 buy sells with them. Their advertising, their marketing, kind of like a right hand to it. And later in the week, I'm at the store that they bought recently. And so that long-term consistency I really love because then I get to do all those wins with them.
Well,
and we're killing. So
I want to do a lot more state dealer convention keynote speeches. That was always the biggest thrill.
Yeah.
And my speech, and you've both heard me speak. I spoke at Digital Dealer a year ago, and that's the speech I do, the shape of things to come. That is my signature speech, and it always goes into whatever is happening now. So. And that was a song by the Yardbirds back in the 60s, The Shape of Things to Come. And that was my futuristic, this is the future forecasting of the car business. And I've been the opening keynote speaker. Now that's not the same as a speaker on the platform. I was the opening keynote speaker for 98 state dealer conventions. And I'd like to do those with Zoom right now, because Zoom on the big screen, put me on the Megatron and let me talk to your audience. I'll charge you $5,000, no travel, easy to do. I'll put it on your credit card and we'll just rock and roll.
There you go. Once you get those Amex points. My favorite one to do is I do a session called Yes, the F You Can. See how I didn't swear? Yes, the F You Can. And it's a goal and forecast session that works for operations all the way down to like BDC, anybody. That's one of my favorite ones because I like the motivation and the hype up and the energy of it. It's fun, it works, and you create your own accountability plan. So it just makes sense. Those are one of my favorite ones to do. And I try to incorporate those in all my trainings as often as possible.
Well, Jennifer, you are consulting on the top executive level, and I know some of your clients. How do you structure that? That would drive me nuts, the way that you have so many different services.
Well, so one thing that a lot of people don't know is that I have a team of people. In addition to the consulting,
they don't know that they picture you as a lone wolf, single entity. I know you've got a whole staff of people. Next Level Briggs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, next level digital, because we also for a lot, and we've talked about it before on the show, but a lot of folks know I have 3 more years before my youngest graduates from high school, and then I'm mobile. So I'm still trying to put money into my dealership savings account. And so I actually did launch a secondary company during COVID. And with that gave me the structure to be able to put a full team together to execute on a lot of different managed services.
What's your website?
Well, Jim, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, Jim, that's a great question.
So,
yes, Jim, that's a great.
That's a
Okay,
good
tell
question.
me about your website.
So next level digital solutions. Solutions has been a thing for me forever. But ultimately it's not just me. You know, we have about 28 different team members throughout our network, both in-house and with some partners that do things for us. So it is, you know, if you need to have, you know, whether it's Google Business, we do a lot of local SEO work on our digital side of things, actually, because it's the most cost-effective advertising format.
That's got to be a state-of-the-art website, isn't it?
No, it's not a state-of-the-art website because I'm just the man behind the curtain. We don't actually sell a lot direct to dealers on that side, Jim. That
is this the right website on the screen?
I think so.
Jennifer, are you so big that Google says you have big energy? I feel like they do, but she doesn't talk about it.
We are B2B a lot on that side of the house. On the consulting and solution side of things, we are working with dealers because, of course, that's my end goal. I still consider myself a dealer. But on that side of it, we partner with a lot of large media companies and other agencies, white label it. So I'm not really trying to be real forward facing. Of course, we have a lot of dealer friends of ours that can contract with us directly. So that is huge. And yes, I did just book my flight to go to Google next week.
Oh, I am so excited about it. If you want to see somebody who gets so pumped up when somebody in their tribe wins, like our whole group is like this. A lot of people I think don't realize how real that is. I'm so excited about her going. Like,
yeah, I have for the last 6 months, I've been sitting on a local SEO product panel with a bunch of people that I really never thought I would ever be in a room with. And so it is really exciting to see that side of it. And I am enjoying just kind of being the man behind the curtain there. I have an amazing team that takes care of those operations. And I just have to come in and be the strategy lady and, you know, talk to the dealers or put together with my director of operations. You've met Shane before, Jim, with, you know, this is the products we're going to build and how we're going to go. We've got a lot of stuff coming in 2023 as well. So I'm very excited. But yeah, I just sell cars.
Super proud.
I just sell cars.
I'm super proud. So over here being proud.
What is your website, Bobbie?
It's thebeeskneesagency.com.
Thebeeskneesagency.com. It's kind of long.
I know. By design, it is longer because we were in true SEO fashion while doing that, while building that. But, you know, most of what's funny is my website is a one-page website. I build websites and launch websites for people all the time. And my website is a one-page website. And most of what we do is referral business. So we get booked up fast with referral business because stuff is coming through. I don't work with anyone that they're competing against, any competitors. So for a specific length of time, I won't take on a competitor. And so I take a lot of business from like 20 groups and things like that, where they'll call and just go, hey, I heard that you could do this. Is this something that you're offering? And it's always funny because the first time they always go, tell me how it works. They're waiting for a demo. I'm like, this isn't a demo. This is a conversation. This is custom to you.
Right.
Demos always bore me to death because once again, we're getting into stats and analytics, and I got no patience with stats and analytics. The beeskneesagency.com, one-page website. Basically, that's just a directory to how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You can schedule a time to talk to me. My public calendar is on there.
Yeah, because she don't answer her phone.
No, you got to schedule. It literally says like, what problem are you trying to solve? Here's the 3 things that we cover. We do consulting, we do training, and we do marketing. And we do those 3 things and we do them well. And it comes on all different levels. I mean, I send controllers into stores to train controllers from the company. We've pretty much touched every part of the business. But when you hire a consultant, you're paying for a level of experience that you don't have inside of the store and may not want to have permanently brought on. And so it's not about how long it would take for me to do the job. It's how long it would take for the job to be done.
Right. And it's a train the trainer style. I think that's the one thing that I am always, always very insistent upon. Because, and Bobbie, you just hit the nail on the head. They may not be able to afford to have someone at that skill level full time. But if you have someone with the right attitude and the right work ethics, and you want to grow them up into your company so that they can become that type of talent, why would you not make that investment in your long-term bottom line of your business?
It just makes sense, especially right now. I mean, I see a lot in our industry, and there's a lot of really great consultants and trainers in our industry. A lot of really great ones. There's a lot of really shady ones too. And that's just the truth of the matter. And it's unfortunate because I've even had people say, well, Bobbie, you like train on BDC. What are your qualifications? Like, I don't know, bitch, I ran a giant group with a 300% increase. I have a 40 under 40 for a reason. It's not because I'm amazing. It's because I'm really good at building amazing teams.
What are your qualifications? I love a dealer to ask, what are your, and you should. Yeah. Dealers, why are you not screening some of these clowns you're hiring?
Listen, I screen the dealers who call me. I'm not returning your 100%. Call until I research you. You should 100%. Definitely research me.
100%.
Please research us. Please check our references and check you are hiring so many frauds, wannabes, never was, has-beens. I mean, you're hiring people that can't do it, never did it, never will be able to do it.
Yeah,
on the things that I charge you money for, I am the best there is, the best there ever was, and the best there ever will be. Period.
That was a pretty solid tagline.
If I charge you money,
I like it.
Marketing with that. It's interesting though because it's like. So many times when I see this, I say, look, I'm not the right fit for everybody. I'm direct, I'm honest, I'm brutal. And privately, I will hold you to a level of accountability that you will both crave and desire, but want to fight against. And it will be private. And that's not for everybody. I'm not going to walk into the store and be like, you're doing a great job. I'm going to be like, what? Come on, like, let's do this together. And that's not for everybody. Some people like things to be sugar-coated. I'm not a sugar-coater.
Oh, no, come on.
It's not a thing I can do. It's not something I'm good at.
No. But, and guess what? I have a website. And by the way, we just launched my new website.
Yes, so good.
So good. Have you seen my new website, Bobbie?
Yeah, I went and looked at it yesterday.
I am so proud because, first of all, simplicity. There's not I'm not as like Bobbie Herron. Like Jennifer, I am not too big on SEO for my own website because I consider my website a destination website. People that go there were headed there. If you don't know who I am, I mean, you're not going to spend any money on me. I mean, excuse me. I mean, if you don't know who I am, shame on you. So
my website is a calendar basically so that people can schedule time with me to be able to talk. Because look, when I'm on site, I take everybody's phones away and that includes mine. And I travel every other week. So
and now you guys know why everybody laughs if they can't get a hold of her.
Yeah, I do. Like facts guy, like when I am traveling, so if I go outside for a second or go pee real quick, I'll look at my phone. The first thing I'm looking for is my family and my clients. And then that's the 5-minute break. So And I don't leave the dealership till 10, 11 o'clock at night most nights. Like when I come in as a consultant, I'm not the 5 p.m. person. I come in at 10. You're not getting me on site before 10. That allows you to get your day started and me to sleep in because I'm not a morning person. And it doesn't interrupt anything, but I'm on site till like midnight. So short of wanting a call at 2
Really?
a.m., it has to wait.
Now, I've got to say, I never did that. That's
I do it all the time.
No, I blast out 8 o'clock, 7:30, and I don't. But
So-
midnight, when I was actively in the business, I worked till midnight. So many nights, 7 days a week. I was on the beat to dealerships.
You're probably showing up at the dealership early. You're probably at the dealership at 8 a.m., right? And I'm not coming in until 10.
7.
Yeah, I'm not coming in until 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So midnight's not too impressive for me. But one of the things that I require on my on-sites is an all hands on deck manager meeting. No excuses, owner, GM, all managers. And together we are building and working on whatever we're doing. Now I've done the work before. I'm giving you guidance to get you there, but we're going to agree on it. And then that's what we're going to implement as we go through. So that's why we have those late nights. And
one of the things I teach is management training.
Yeah.
So I want the office manager to pull me 100 random deals if it's a big enough dealership. Usually small dealerships didn't hire me. So the bigger dealership, I want 100 random deal folders from the month before.
Right.
And I sit in the conference room 7 o'clock in the morning and I start going through these with a legal pad and I'm writing down everything I see. Did F&I cheat on the deal? Did the salesperson coach the customer? I can look at a worksheet and I can tell you if the salesperson coached the customer. I can tell you if the worksheet was created after the deal was done and the manager is just deceiving I can, it's a fingerprint, it's a blueprint to me. I can read what's going on in a dealership. And the next thing I'll do is I'll walk around and I'll pick up every blatant violation of federal law that I can find. Anything that's in plain sight, I won't open a drawer, I won't open a locked door. But if it's sitting on top of a desk, if it's out in the open, and I'll say, Mr. Dealer, look at this. Mrs. Dealer, look at this, Mrs. Dealer. I've got 81 pages here at $15,000 a page.
Yeah.
These are federal violations that the Federal Trade Commission would charge you at least $15,000 each.
Yeah, see that 10, 15 grand a day doesn't feel so bad after that.
No.
I like to go around and do a full walk, no matter what I'm doing at the dealership. I like to do a full walk around of the dealership and look for, like if you think about for a minute, I have a dog, right? And I am OCD about my house. So it's very rare that you're going to find dog hair somewhere, but you're on a baseboard, and I'm not going to see it because it's my house and I live there. And so I try to think of that same thing when I come into a dealership, and I'm looking for things that you might have gotten so normal with that you don't notice, from compliance stuff to advertising things to salespeople's desks to why does it feel so sterile and cold in here and not feel like you want to be there and be a part of something, right? From the simple to the big. High performance culture includes all of those aspects. It's not just as simple as a conversation. It's an entire environment, and it makes a difference.
I show up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and I drive the dealership from both directions. First thing I look for is display. People think all your customers don't come in on the internet, folks. That is a mythology. Now, there's people that drive up and down your street. Your frontage is a quarter of a mile.
Even if they do come in on the internet, they still have to drive in on the lot eventually.
Yeah.
And then your frontage is a quarter of a mile of billboard. And I go to Chevy dealerships, Ford dealerships, Toyota dealerships, and all the trucks are on the front row.
Blocking
dumbasses, you put your highest altitude vehicles on the front row.
Do you remember when we used to train on that though? Do you remember, I remember coming into the business and my first sales manager, Greg Miller, teaching me how to front the cars, how to park. Well, they always parked them for me. I'm a bad parker, but that's neither here nor there. But how to make it look a certain way, and it mattered. And I rarely see that anymore, of where there was an art to it. Like there'd be two people.
I think they're just hoping, and it's coming back. We're seeing the volumes come back. They just are trying to get something.
Merchandising is lost. Merchandising a dealership is a lost art.
It used to look all beautiful. I mean, even we joke about the balloons, but we used to balloon a lot every day. And more importantly, we learned our inventory that way too.
What people don't understand is it is nearly impossible to have effective marketing without an effective merchandising strategy.
Can I get an amen?
To be able to present, you have to know how much money you're losing between the time you take in the trade and before it's even ready to fit wherever you want to fit it on the lot, right? Or online, without an effective merchandising strategy. But these are things when we have conversations with dealers, right? I'm talking to dealers about goals. What are you dealing with? Where are you trying to go? And then we're going to identify, like I said, the areas that need to be fixed first. The reason you hire someone like me or Bobbie or Jim is not because you can't eventually figure it out.
Right.
It's because you don't want to spend the money and burn out your staff trying to figure it out.
Right.
When you work with, and I was able while we were here to purchase the Empress of ExecutiveManagement.com. So, when you're working, like Bobbie said earlier, you're paying for the year's experience. And I hope someday that I am still blessed with the opportunity to help dealers when I've been in the business as long as Jim has, or maybe I'll be blessed enough to just be running my own and you guys can fend for yourselves. Right.
So does that mean we didn't win the lottery?
No, we only won $40.
Oh, I'm going to win it tonight. They didn't post the numbers last night.
Oh, I don't know. My mom is in charge of that, and she said, "I think
I bought $40 worth of tickets for the Powerball, and I was there to get half and half for my coffee, but I ended up buying 40, and then I went over and bought a scratch off and won $100 on the scratch off.
Good job.
Yeah, so it was a good day in Publix. It was amazing. How can they call you, Jennifer? Before we get off here, how can people call you?
They can call me at 517.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Yeah. Okay, hang on.
0219.
Okay. 517. I'm slow typist. Go ahead.
366.
0219. 0219. Okay.
I'm sure there's contact information on the
website.
That is
Jennifer. That is Jennifer's number. If they want to contact you, and Bobbie, yours is you sneaky. Look at you. You got yours right on.
I'm on it. I suggest you text me.
Yeah, texting is good. People message me on LinkedIn. Really, honestly, whatever your medium is, if you're ready to go down that path, shoot me a text, send me a DM on LinkedIn. I've got some, like I said, I'm going to stalk you on LinkedIn anyways. You might as well message me there.
Okay, and I'll tell you
Jennifer's reasonable. I'll tell you this. I just want to show you guys something because everybody's like, oh, how many text messages could you get in a day, Bobbie? It's going to keep part of my phone private here, but can you guys see?
No, we can't.
No.
Can you see this?
It's a lot.
Just a lot of white.
It says 283. There's 283 unread text messages on my phone right now, 107 emails, and 360.
I can predict the number. I can predict the number.
I've only been gone for a week.
Shitload. Okay.
Yeah. So text me or go to my website and schedule a time with me there. Just know that calendar runs for a reasonable amount of daytime, but I'm always available to talk in the nights and evenings or on the weekends if somebody wants to kind of collaborate through something. And
I'll do a sales meeting on Zoom for 1,500. Sales meeting 1,500. I really want to do a virtual Zoom keynote speech for your dealer convention.
That'd be really cool.
$5,000. I charged 90 dealerships plus 90 associations plus $7,500 in person plus all my travel. $5,000, no travel, a Zoom broadcast. Start lobbying your dealer association. I want a keynote speech. A lot happening in the industry right now. The manufacturers are overreached. They're overextending. They're overreaching their bounds. If dealers don't stick up for yourselves, you're going to lose it. Let me speak to your dealer association. $5,000. Jim Ziegler. And by the way, all my training is free at ZieglerOnDemand.com. Free F&I school, free sales manager, and free dealer principal, free general manager training on my site, ZieglerOnDemand.com. Women, we didn't have enough time today.
No.
This just went.
I know we've never had a sit down like this where we were just kind of like talking about this stuff. So that was cool.
Yeah.
This is, well, yeah, it was an infomercial, but I think it probably helped a lot of people. I would like you to hire me. I'd like you to hire the women on the screen with me.
Yeah.
We can improve your dealership. Any one of us in our respective areas of expertise, we can make you a lot of money, because right now your people don't know how to sell cars. They've forgotten. Some of the new hires never. I go to LinkedIn. I watch you fools congratulating yourselves on record months, like you actually did something. You had nothing to do with those record months. Understand, your people don't know how to sell cars. Your processes are broken. Your BDC's broken. All the three people on this broadcast, we can help you tremendously. Pick up a phone, swallow your ego, and give us a call. Wave goodbye to everybody, people.
Bye, guys.